Hey guys, man, oh man, I'm so psyched to be making this video. Do you know why? Because I can't wait to let it go. Like, I can't wait to get to roll this crap off my back, straighten my back out, right? So, I'll give you a little bit of personal background just so, maybe it'll make it more entertaining overall. I used to, um, I've always been in sales pretty much most of my life. I was kind of a weird little kid that like sold greeting cards to neighbors and then won a tent doing so, and then set it up in our yard and lived in it every summer and on my parents' property. And I like grew up in Michigan on 10 acres and with a family of 10. So I was kind of ignored and a little bit of an emotional, a lot of an emotional shock absorber of my family as an empath, and that was my role in my family. And so I kind of escaped from that and moved out west and all that. And then so what happened for me is I raised a family and had these kind of careers. And at some point, the trade agreements changed under Obama's rule. And our company, that I had a biotech company with my husband, and overnight we lost all of our customers. Like, they all went and bought from China because our customers were like NIH and NCIH, like National Cancer Institute, and all these like awesome universities and stuff. And academia they had to use our tax money to purchase in the country, right? To purchase their goods in the country. And all of a sudden we went global. And I was a kind of a globalist. I even named our company, oh my God, like it hurts to think that I did this, but I named it Global Peptide Services because I was so excited about being globalized because I like other cultures and I just saw it as like being global. I didn't really see it as like, how is that gonna affect me, my company? And overnight, like our product had to compete with Chinese prices, and they're just making these peptides in a sweatshop and stuff, and so they could make them for nothing. So we anyways, that all ended, just to make a long story short. And I was so over it. I was like, I worked so hard. I've been doing everything right since I was like 14. I've been working these jobs and stuff. I'm done. And I like literally like became this like super like kind of like hyper spiritual person and went into this kind of just poverty vow state, I guess you could call it, and I left society proper. And I took off and I became a healer, massage therapist, yoga instructor, and an art and music festival kind of person, working there as like vendor coordinator and different things. And so what happened was after this 10-year period, I really wanted to, I had this other dream and this other hope and dream, and I wanted to make that work, and I couldn't find the support to do that. And I realized I had to do it on my own with my own means. And so I decided to come back into society and make money. And I literally lived on less than $10,000 a year for 10 years. So, and I lived in beautiful places. It was a great traveling lifestyle, but that said, how are you going to start your big dream? And so what happened is when I came back into society, I felt really grounded, unsettled. And I had to relearn my skills. Like, I had to hone in and retune and draw up these old skills, like my administrative skills and all these amazing skills that I left behind. I just sort of left them in the dust, like, fuck you. And so I had to go work just menial jobs again, like that. I mean, to me, we're kind of lower end, where I used to have 10 employees. Now I was the employee. And so I went and worked at dealerships because I knew I would be able to at least make some decent money. And I'm like, and I can still talk to people. I can still deal with people, and I won't, I can answer phones, right? So it's not going to be too difficult. Well, and I knew the hardest part was going to be getting along with people and getting along in the industry because of the same reason I left society, which was the kind of garbage mentality of the world we live in, where it's just like it's running on, you know, financial means and unethical and all this stuff. So as I came back into society and worked at dealerships, it was like being in the belly of the beast that I was trying to get away from. And I was like, oh my God. So I had to I literally like so the first place that I worked, the manager said, he's like, you know, you will have a serious advantage because you're a woman, because people are naturally more trusting to women. And so when you approach them, they're already going to have their guard down. Okay. So right away, he's like kind of teaching me about like how this all is going to work. And then he, you know, I was like kind of concerned, like, do you really think I'll be okay doing sales as a woman? And he said, as long as you have the right feminine energy. And then he said it again, you're going to have the right feminine energy. And I didn't want to ask what it was because it was too weird. And my studies had all been like on like spiritual context with like David Data's work and stuff. So it was like enlightened sex, feminine energy and stuff. And I'm like, okay, this is weird because I know this guy is talking about something else, but I'm so out of touch with mainstream reality. I don't know what he means. Well, he meant submissive and to like flatter them and do all the things that a good woman does. And so I guess, you know, I highly failed on that level. And I was fired within 30 days on the day, like literally, and I was like a badass. I got my exam within a week or like within a few days. Like I just like studied, took the test, and then I, you know, passed the test, got that. And then I did this whole certification for the high-tech cars that I was going to be selling. And they're really beautiful cars. And I don't want to expose all that. Just because I don't want to get sued, but I worked so hard getting certified in learning technology because I love technology, but I had like the same crappy like technology that I had 10 years ago, and it was high tech then, but the first thing that I didn't buy when I left society was an iPhone, and they had just come out, and I had been stock trading too, and it was like I was following Mac and trading, you know, Apple options on the stock market and all this crazy stuff. And then that whole Big Short thing happened. I was like part of it in my mini Big Short. And when I saw the movie, I cried because I was like, I understood. It happened to other people. I'm not crazy, because I just felt like a failure. Anyways, that feminine energy that he was talking about. So I had this curiosity and I wanted to know what was going on. And I asked questions that triggered these managers, especially one, and he was so triggered because they were unveiling. It's like pulling back the curtain and being like, oh, there's the Wizard of Oz, like, you know, or whatever, and like kind of laughing. Like I wasn't really like, it wasn't even a judgment. It was just like this, you know, kind of looking at by the questions I was asking. It was like, you know, maybe because I was a woman too, so I'm putting out a different type of energy than when men, you know, how they play those roles out differently. And anyways, so I sold, you know, I got certified, then I sold 3 cars, and then I got fired. And the reason they gave me was that my sales, because I wasn't going to be a good salesperson. Well, on the board, there were 25 salespeople, and of those, half of them had zeros for the month. And I had 3 cars, and I only had been able to sell for 2 weeks. So I was like, I know it's not my sales, but it was crushing. And I knew it was kind of a gender sort of discrimination. I went, you know, and talked to an attorney, and she's like, yeah, you got a case, but you don't have a case because guess what? And this goes back to what I was explaining to you, or going to explain to you. And this is how the dealership overlay is. So at the top, you have the governor, and he appoints his little group of board members. Well, those board members are part of the dealership. So basically, they're just covering each other's ass. I mean, what else would they be doing in there? Wouldn't you want to hire somebody who is actually looking out for the customer if the regulatory agency was to hold that accountable? So the customers are the only ones that can complain. Like I worked for them, but I couldn't complain to that agency, right? So I could complain for discrimination, but it would be like, you know, and in fact, it was a law. It would take 4 months for them to even investigate it or start to investigate it. And then we'd have to sue, and the results would always be negative. The attorney was like, you can just pretty much count on that the results are going to come back negative, and so they're going to say you don't have a case pretty much, and we're just going to have to override that and take it to court anyways. And I was like, fuck this shit, I don't want to even be part of any of it. I hate that kind of stuff anyways. But then I was like, well, that sort of shined that light on, wow, so this is all part of the systems that I ran away from. And I ran away because intuitively I was getting all these downloads about, you know, the stock market, which I was playing on, and the trade agreements, and I felt betrayed by Obama. I was like, oh my God, you fucking sold us, you know? Like, I mean, I just felt like a slab of meat that was like, you know, like just went through a meat processor. And then I was like, okay, what am I gonna be, a hamburger or just like dog food, you know? And so I like left society. So when I came back in, it was like, wow, belly of the beast, here's the dealership shit. And I'm gonna sit here and I'm just gonna take it all in and do the best I can, because I'm scared. I'm actually really, really scared. And this is really, really hard for me. I really, really missed my old life bad until just recently. Like, I mean, it's been the longest year of my whole life. And leaving it was easy. Leaving it was just like walking away, sold everything. It was like, oh, felt like I took a big shit. I mean, seriously, just walking away from everything and having that freedom. Like, I got tickles in my tummy when I drove away, you know, because it was just like, oh my God, I can go anywhere I want. I have no obligations. I don't have to do anything. And I don't even, you know, I don't have any bills. I'm not even gonna get any mail. I mean, that was incredible. It was just incredible after what I was living with. You know, I had this like big shot biotech company and all this stuff. So then, so going back, I'm gonna start a second part here where I'm gonna start talking like really in depth about the little tricks that the dealerships are gonna play so that you know how not to get taken advantage of. And there's just a few simple things that will help you a lot, but I'll try to make it interesting and give you a few stories. All right, part 2.